Product development is a process. So for people who are creatives, when you hear the word process, my wife is in that bucket. There is a grimace, but the reason it is a process is industry wants it to be repeatable, right? You can't just have a one-off. That's not good enough. How do you make each and every product successful, and how do you do it faster? So it is a process, and being a process, there is an end in mind, right? A destination, and of course, there is timelines, budgets associated with that. So the first part is destination, which is how do you ensure that your product is going to be successful, right? If you just have an idea, that's great, but now there is quite a leap from getting an idea into a commercial product, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about here. So how do we define success, right? What do we mean by a product is successful? So this early work was actually done by three sort of academicians at the University of Iowa. So they looked at, when I think it was Monsanto, but when hybrid seeds first got into the market, they were looking at how farmers were adopting the use of these hybrid seeds. And Rogers, one of the three, has written a book called Diffusion of Innovation. Okay, so this bell curve essentially represents like all possible customers who may buy your product. Okay, so if you're looking at hybrid seeds, it's going to be all the farmers. If you are looking at doing something like orthopedics or something, it'll be all the patients, if you will. So bell curve represents everybody. Okay. And what they have seen is that initially up to, I guess, 16% of it, right? You'll have people who buy it are called innovators and early adopters of some technology, okay? And this piece is roughly around 16%. I mean, obviously not exact, but somewhere around there. But for your product to be successful, what you need to go is from these early users to the mass market. Okay? And then what you see is that at the tail end of this mass market, again, somewhere around 16% is what I call laggards, people who just will not adopt. You could almost argue that you see some people still having flip phone, right? That is, today we are in the day of smartphones, right? So if you're in the flip phone user, in the phone example, you would be in the laggard. So you're never going to convert 100% of your customer base. But this middle 68 is where the money is made. Okay? So the key is this one. How do you transition from the beginning to mass market? Okay? You don't want your product to only be a novelty. And there are countless examples. If you hear this phrase called crossing the chasm, that means it has transitioned from here to here. Today, some technologies that are sort of still in this novelty is, if you look at electric cars, right? Tesla, so many companies selling electric cars, but electric cars still represent about 2% of the cars sold in the US. It is still promising, and we think it's going to obviously catch on, right? Smart homes, right? All the technology that goes into smart homes, like, right, I can get on my cell phone here and turn on the oven at home or lights and things like that. That is still stuck here. It hasn't made the leap into the mass market. Your product being successful means that it has transitioned into mass market. So how do you, as an entrepreneur, sort of make decisions to ensure that your product is going to go there?